Today is May 17th, 2020. It marks 12 years since my parents died in a motorcycle accident and 11 days since my wife died from as yet to be determined pending, according to the medical examiner. We're in the midst of a COVID pandemic. 85,000 people to date have died from suspected COVID-related deaths. We kind of live in an unprecedented time of painful and unfair things, and I see a lot of people worried and perpetuating the idea of those painful and unfair things. It's easy to do, but also, why are you surprised when all you think about are painful and unfair things, and that's what manifests into the world? I was lucky enough to have parents for the first 22 years of my life. I was lucky enough to have my relationship with my wife for 11 years. We were married for 8. Life's always a tragedy when you look at it for the end. We're all united when in death. Everybody dies. That's not the important part. It's just so easy to focus on because it's so easy to be afraid of. What's important, though, is really the journey. We all die in the end, but we're all unique because of how we walked to get there. That's art. Our life is art. Some of us make beautiful creations from our pain. Some of us play the victim. Some of us get caught up in the painful and unfair things and can't transmute them into something beautiful. The greater the pain, the greater the injustice, the better the victory you get from being able to bring something good out of it. 12 years ago, like I was saying, my parents died. Now, that was awful. My support structure eroded. So many bad ripples came from that. It took me 10 years to really claw my way out of being stuck in that. And my wife was there beside me almost the entire time. And she was the reason that I started to see good. 2 years ago, I decided, almost this month, that I wanted to have kids. And it took a lot of convincing because I had always said that I didn't want them. But my wife and I started, the long journey it takes to make our life right, to be able to bring kids into this complicated world. We were almost there. We were going to start this month. It was not to be. My wife died. Now, that's a painful and unfair thing. But I had spent 10 years of my life asking, why me? Why? It's easy to be victimizing yourself when you are victimized by life. But none of us can ignore that we're on a clock. We don't have forever to figure it out. So this time, instead of asking why me, I started asking why not. People people deal with this thing differently. Everyone does. I'm not expecting you to be able to comprehend, and your pain is different. I'm not expecting you to be able to comprehend what I'm going through, but I took this 10-year path after my parents died that was long and cruel. I lost a sister-in-law. There was a lot of death in mine and my wife's family, and we dealt with it together. And I try to be an upbeat person. I'm going to continue to be an upbeat person because that's the life I want to choose to live. It doesn't matter what happens. It matters what I do with it. Art. Another 3-letter word, I guess. Transmute transmute whatever emotion you're feeling into whatever it is that makes you you. Find an art form. I told Kim a year ago to find a hobby. She started crocheting. She made a lot of good happen from it. It was just me being a little bit, pushy, saying she was having trouble with grief. She was having a lot of trouble with her sister. It's a monster. It's a dragon. And dragons, if you don't fight them head on, take you out. So, yeah, my support structure eroded entirely when my parents died. And I realized this time, when my wife died, it's because it was about me. I let it happen. Everyone said thoughts and prayers. And if you've faced a loss and someone says thoughts and prayers, your first instinct is to say, man, everyone doesn't know what to say. So thoughts and prayers. They're just ignorant. Why? But I've come to realize that when someone says thoughts and prayers, they don't know. I can't expect them to know what I'm dealing with, but they're telling me that they care, that they don't know what to do, but they wish they did, and they want to be there for me, but they don't know how. So this time, every time I heard thoughts and prayers, I just had a conversation. I told them a little bit about what I was dealing with honestly and earnestly, and I tried to find a positive in it for them so it made sense to them. The worst things in your life don't make sense. The best things in your life don't make sense. And my wife dying is definitely a tragedy. What am I going to make of it? It's been so much better because I've just been more open. And I want to bring that idea to the world. Because what if there was a community to help share the load of these things that just are overwhelming for just one person? I'm angry right now, too. And I'm not angry like I want to destroy the world. I'm angry like I want this to not be the way it is anymore. We can do better. And I'm going to lead the charge on that. I'm going to lead the charge on us being better. And it's happening. The difference between now and 12 years ago is it's happening because I'm explaining to people how they can be. I'm explaining to people how their thoughts and prayers are useful. What it's like to be at, I make this joke. When the joke when you stare into the abyss stares back. I stared into the abyss until it blinked. Yeah. And I think that together there's something here, and I got a team of people now. We're going to put something together, and we're going to see how far we can take this, because what I learned throughout all of this really is that dealing with grief is a skill. And maybe not all, I hope that not all of us need it, but if I can put a place together to aggregate the skills of dealing with the most painful, wretched defeats of your life, I think that's something that the world needs. And I'll never stop having enough energy to put it out there. Thank you for listening. It's going to be a little while before I update again. I want to get into the weeds, and I'm actually thinking about starting to put out videos that are a couple of minutes, and they just little thoughts about how to listen better in a day. I don't want to lose touch with you guys. I want to keep you guys a little update on the project. So whenever I have something to share, I will be. But know that it's going to be cooking a little bit. It takes a little while to stand up an IT environment, and that's what I'm planning on doing. I plan on doing this right, and I plan on it being something that does do something to change the world. I don't know if I'm going to change it on my small sphere or if I'm going to make this something that I blast out to the country or the world. But as far as I can get it, that's where I'm going to take it. Thank you. Happy Sunday.